Hey fam, how's everybody doing? I pray you're doing well and clinging to Jesus. I'm on a little walk, a beautiful walk here. It's a beautiful day out. Every day is a beautiful day. I honestly, guys, I have so much peace. I really do. Like I can't quit smiling. It's every day is like breakthrough after breakthrough when I see what the Lord has rescued me from. When I see that he has allowed me to know things and hear things and find out things that were done and said. And as much as it hurts at the beginning, he's just showing us the fire that he pulled us out of and how he truly rescues us. And he allows us to have that breakdown, that even though he knows it'll hurt temporarily, so that he can pour out his love and make everything make sense, And as I think back through, all the, your brain is busted, just how bad you are, being nicknamed, being diagnosed, with this online, I guess, YouTube psychology degree, all the abuse, and seeing how you just were struggling and fighting through every moment and still pouring out love, and your heart never changed. He allows us to see these things so that we can find the beauty that he wants us to find in our circumstance. And I want to share this story with you. It's just the most beautiful story. And he's with us, like, seriously, at every turn, at every moment. And I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be uplifted. I want you to feel strong. I just pray with all my might that we can do this together, because it's so amazing. And all this worry is gone. All this pressure is gone. All this criticism is gone. And we have this choice to listen to the voice of the enemy and come into agreement with it, or we can listen to the voice of the Lord and what he says about us. And he is willing. He loves us enough to break us down temporarily, and he allows things to happen so that our eyes are only on him. And so I want to share this story with you. So the last video I was talking about emotions, right? And how I'd just been just totally beat down and had my emotions and, fighting the urge to explain ourselves. Fighting the urge to defend ourselves. The flesh wants to defend. The flesh wants to get even. The flesh wants to set the record straight. But the mind of the spirit is like, don't you see how all these awesome things I've rescued you from? Don't you see that I want more and better for you? Don't you see that you were devoting your heart and your mind and those beautiful emotions to something that was never, ever going to see good in you? That was never going to love you, never did, and was never going to. And so I want to share this story. I recorded that video and I went into work. And my prayer before I went into work is always, Lord, use me today in whatever way. Help me to encourage someone. And on top of that prayer, I said, Lord, I could really use some encouragement today, actually. Can you send me someone not only to encourage, but someone to encourage me, to speak straight through, someone to me today. And so I go in, and the first customer that I had was this gentleman named Paul. And I was cutting his hair, and Paul, in our conversation, he just kept saying things like the good Lord, and the good Lord did this, and the good Lord did that. And so he was telling me that after his haircut, he was going to be going down to Kentucky it was bow hunting season for turkey. And he was going to go down and bow hunt in Kentucky. And I said, a lot of my family, my dad's whole side of the family is from Kentucky. And we were discussing, what part of Kentucky and all that. Hello. How are you doing? And so we connected on that. And then we got done with the haircut. And he looked right at me, you guys. And I was already, connected to him because he kept saying, the good Lord, the good Lord, the good Lord. And the good Lord said to me, and the good Lord said to me, and the good Lord told me. And he looked right at me when the haircut was finished, and he said, I don't know why, little lady, but I feel like the good Lord wants me to tell you a story. And I immediately was like, whoa, here we go. God's showing up as he always does, right? So he said, I feel like the good Lord wants me to, hello.
Hey, how are you?
How are you? Good. And he said, I feel like the good Lord wants me to tell you this story, and I'm not really sure why. And of course, you guys know me. And even right now, I'm already like, whew. I was like, really? And he said, yes. He told me that him and his wife had worked their whole lives, and they always wanted to have a log cabin up on the hill in Kentucky. He wanted to have hunting property, and they wanted to have a log cabin up on a hill and a bunch of hundreds of acres. So they built this house, and they're finally where they need to be. They're finally where, okay, this is it. This is what we've always wanted. This is what we've always prayed for. We're there. We've reached the point. We've reached the pinnacle. And he said, all of a sudden, the good Lord started saying to me, you need to sell this house, and you need to get up to where your grandkids are in Ohio. And he brushed it off. He's like, Lord, no. And he said, the Lord wouldn't leave him alone. And he said, the good Lord kept telling me, I have more for you. This isn't where you're supposed to be. This isn't where you're needed. This isn't where I want you. This isn't what I have for you. And he said, and the good Lord kept trying to tell me, but I just wouldn't listen. I was ignoring all the signs. Things were happening, and I just brushed it off. And he said he climbed up one day. He had been tracking this deer. There was this one specific deer that he had been tracking and watching, and that was his goal. He wanted to get this deer. So he had made a ladder out of, logs on this tree to get up to his tree stand. And it was like 20 logs on this tree to get high up. It was really, really high up. It was like 20 feet in the air. Hi. And he said when he climbed up to the tree stand, he got to the very top rung and he fell. And he broke his back. And he was really far away from the house. And he had to crawl, like 2 hours in suffering. He had to crawl on his hands and knees through the pain and make it back to the house. Well, where they lived in Kentucky was on the border of Ohio, so they went to the hospital and were immediately life-flighted to OSU Medical Center, Ohio State University Medical Center. So here he is in Ohio, right? And so he gets his treatment, and he said, as he's in the hospital, he's like, okay, Lord, you broke me. You literally had to break me. You had to take away everything that I thought was good for me, and everything that I had poured my life into, and everything that I had devoted my life into. You knew that I was devoted to it, but it isn't what you wanted for me. And so you had to break me. So he said, I told the good Lord, okay, I hear you, and I'm embracing this because I know that you have something better for me. And I know you have a purpose in my life. And he's telling me this, and I'm like, wow. Obviously you guys know what has happened, and I'm just relating with it, and it's just so beautiful. Obviously I'm crying. His eyes are welling up. He's crying. And he said that he put the house on the market, and he thought, Lord, this is never going to sell. We're on 150 plus acres, and it's going to take a very specific buyer to want this. And he said on the first day of being on the market, within 2 hours, he gets an offer, a full cash offer from a man in Buffalo, New York, which is also significant for me because that, Buffalo, I always used to go through the border in Buffalo. Went to Buffalo 2 or 3 times a month. And he said, this man, the good Lord wanted me to go up to Ohio to be with my grandkids. And this man was looking for a property in Kentucky because the good Lord was telling him that he wanted him to go be in Kentucky with his grandkids. And he said, young lady, I don't know why. The good Lord wanted me to tell you this today. But he will break you down and take away things that were never going to serve you, that were never going to appreciate you, that was never where you were supposed to be. And I'm, crying, and he gives me the biggest hug, and I'm just thanking him. I told him that I prayed for this today, and it's everything I had already known, and really been realizing. But the Lord literally broke him down, quite literally broke his back to get him where he wanted him. And now he said he's never been closer with the Lord. He's never been so full of peace. It was just beautiful, you guys. And he gave me the biggest hug and has an extra little nod there. My jersey number when I played sports all growing up was 21. It's my favorite number, and I love the number 21. It was on all the sports I played, that was my number. Get him 2-1. Here we go, 2-1. Here we go now, 2-1. And when he said, there's something in your drawer for you. And I opened up the drawer, and he had left a 20 and a 1 in there as a gift for me. He could have just left 20. He could have left a 5. He could have left a 10. And I know that, might not be significant to a lot of people, but I thought it was really cool. Another God nod. That was the same day that I went back and was working with the girl as I was training her. And I looked down, and on her arm, there's a tattoo that says perfectly imperfect. So I'm like, okay, Lord, you're with me. You're fighting for me. I just stay the course. It's so easy to what's easy is just to go say everything, show every screenshot, expose it all, right? And to use scripture, or not to partake in the evil deeds of darkness, but rather to expose them. And we tend to, and we tend to use that as a justification to expose others, but kind of realizing that the way that we don't partake in the evil works of darkness, but rather expose them, is allow our lives to expose his glory. So I can expose it, not in the way necessarily, and if the Lord leads me, then I will, but it's all eyes on him, and all my pain isn't heartbreak. I was in therapy, and she was like, there's no quick way to get out of the pain. There's no quick way to get out of the trauma. You can't rush it along, because it was always like, I don't see it yet. I don't see it. I just don't see it. There's this one time, there was this one time you went somewhere and did this, or, Ugh. My pain isn't of heartbreak. Absolutely not. Like, knowing what I know now, and the truth about everything being so clear, there's no heartbreak. And so she said, when you feel this pain, you can't rush it. You have to feel through it for as long as it takes. You got to grit your teeth. You got to cry. You have to experience the pain. You have to let the pain happen. And she said, when you're feeling the pain, because it becomes physical, right? Like, touch where it hurts. Touch where it hurts. And it's always in my chest. When the gravity of everything hits and I'm processing through everything, no problem. It hurts in my chest. So I started doing that. And as I would experience through the pain, she said, and really narrow down what the pain is. And what the root of it is, And I realized through that it's not, I don't have a broken heart. There's absolutely nothing that I want about back or am desiring back the way that I was treated and undervalued and unappreciated and beat down, with a figurative fist, slowly. There's nothing about my heart being taken advantage of that causes the pain. The pain is it's really trying to process the depths of the depravity, the depths of the evil, the depths of the deceit, of the deception. That's what's hurting my heart. And I realized in that moment that it's actually the spirit that that is hurting against sin in general. And then that makes me like, but I'm a sinner too, right? And I've been thinking a lot lately about the parable of the unforgiving servant that was forgiven a humongous debt and then turned around and didn't forgive his servant that owed him much less than what he was forgiven of. And it just puts it all into perspective, and it all comes full circle. There's no bitterness, there's no resentment, because I've been forgiven a great debt by Jesus. And so the Lord sends people to comfort us. We talked about in the last video, if you're feeling discouraged, go encourage. And I'll leave it with this, because this was all in one day at work. And I'm just talking openly here. There's no agenda for this video. I don't even exactly know. Just walking with you and talking with you like I would a friend, like we do in Discord. So join us. I had a customer come in, because remember, I prayed for him to send someone to encourage me and someone for me to encourage. So the last customer of the day, he sits in my chair and I'm like, how are you doing? And normally people give you this, hello there. Good, how are you? And normally people, yeah, I'm doing good, whatever, right? And this guy looked at me straight in the eyes through the mirror and he said, I'm not doing that well. He works for Boeing. We have a huge Boeing facility here in the city that I live. And one little mistake, he had made a mistake at work. He had dropped a screw. They produce aircraft and stuff like that. The Boeing airplanes. And he had dropped a screw. And he asked his boss, what's going to happen? And this was on Friday, and he said, I don't know, man. I still got to hear from the higher ups, and I still have some paperwork to do on it. I don't know. And the guy told me he wouldn't even let me know. Like, now I have to go all weekend with my family. Hopefully it doesn't get too loud here. I'll turn around. I have to go with my family all weekend with this anxiety, not knowing. And I felt like this boldness in my chest, and I was like wrestling for a few seconds internally, and I just felt the Lord like, just do it. So I said, if you don't mind me asking, are you a man of faith? And he said, well, I am, but that faith has been rocky, and I haven't been as devoted to it as I should the last few years of my life. And I said, well, I'd like to encourage you if I may, and not to pressure you. But I actually just recorded a video from my YouTube channel about having a sound mind and taking every thought captive and making it obedient to Christ, and how having emotions is okay. And sometimes we need to lean on the Lord even in 5-minute increments at a time. And I basically said everything I said in the last video to him. And by the end of it, I'm like, you don't have to be tortured all weekend. We're talking about, don't worry about tomorrow. And I said, something I've learned, and even the first customer of the day, ironically, and you're my last, is God will remove things that aren't for you. God will remove things that you're hanging on to with all your might, no matter how bad it gets. Because he was talking about how the job is just so pressuring. I mean, dropping a screw. Could you imagine the pressure of your job if you even drop a single screw? Goodness gracious. And he was saying, there's a business that I've always wanted to start. I have all the plans for it. I've wanted to do it my whole life. And I said, the first customer of the day, we were discussing, and I've been really learning lately and finding the most beauty and comfort and peace ever in it, is that God sees what's happening. He sees everything. He sees how we're treated. He sees how we're nervous and anxious. He sees it all. And when he wants better for us, he will allow things to happen to move us into that place when we're resisting. And he's always working for our good. And so I believe that maybe, just maybe, I said pray on it, but maybe, just maybe, he's allowing this to happen because he knows that you have always wanted to do this, and he wants it for you too. But he knows that we stay in this one place and we keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. But if people aren't going to recognize our efforts, and if it's going to, dim our light, dim our capabilities, dim our gifts, dim our joy, then he's going to do whatever he has to do to remove it. And maybe, just maybe, he's pushing you into this. And he just started crying. He just started crying, you guys. And he's like, I see it. I see it. I see it. And so, I just said a little prayer, just put my hand on his shoulder. I'm like, Lord, I lift Dan up to you. You're always working for our good. It's no accident that he's in my chair right now. Lord, help us to have a sound mind. Help us, even if 5 minutes at a time, to rely on you and say your truths. And I pray that if this is the breakdown, you seem to be lately really grabbing a hold of all of your children and breaking down what you don't want for them and protecting them, then make it happen and bless him and bless his weekend and bless his mind. And again, he's crying and he gets up and gives me a hug and he's thank you. I'm like, it's not me. I am a broken hot mess. I am literally nothing good about me. It's all him, brother. And he said, the biggest thing that I realized is I got to get back to having faith in him. I got to get back to trusting him. And he said, I'm going to talk to my wife. I'm going to look into it, so I'm just sharing this to tell you guys, when we have, and encourage you, when we have a focus on that sound mind, when we are allowing his glory to be revealed in us day by day, 5 minutes at a time, understanding that he's got us. There's nothing hidden from his sight. He is constantly fighting our battles. He's constantly going to war for us. We don't have to see it. We don't have to know it. We don't have to understand it. All we have to do is see and know and understand him. Everything good happens. Peace comes. We were talking in the server last night, and it sounds cliche and we repeat it over and over again, but the enemy lives in the what ifs of tomorrow. Jesus doesn't want us to worry about tomorrow because he wants to bless you and comfort you and give you peace today. He wants to heal you today. The devil is like, what if I can't pay my bills? What if this person never changes? What if, I lose my job? What if my prodigal kids or spouse or whatever never come back? What if? But that's the enemy. What if nothing? What if today, right? 5 minutes at a time, we can have his glory revealed in us and be bold and encourage people. And I see so many people, I want to be bold for the Lord, but I don't know how. Just speak up. Just do it. Just get this, fire under you where you just do it. And then you're so encouraged that you just want to keep doing it because you see his glory being revealed. And he does get all the glory. So again, ramble bramble. But here's part of my piece is I'm not worried about if it's too long or if it's too much meat or too much potatoes. Hello. Not worried about it. Like retracing all my steps, just finding joy and he's given back what was stolen from me and being who he created me to be. And he wants to do that for you. 5 minutes at a time. However long or short you need to. Take every thought captive, make it obedient to Christ. Pray for specific things. See his glory all over the place. It's so amazing. It's seriously so amazing. In the best season of my life, because it's the season of my life where I recognized that the breaking down was out of full love for me. And he sees so much potential in me, and he sees so much potential in you guys. And he loves you so much. None of your tears are wasted. None of your trials or hardships are wasted. He draws us so near to himself so that he can love us. It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. So anyway, little story time walk here. Walk and talk. Be real, be open, be vulnerable, be relatable, be bold, have peace, have joy when it doesn't make sense. love somebody. Feeling unloved, go love. Feeling discouraged, go encourage. Feeling down, go lift somebody up. Feeling unseen, go make someone feel visible. It's beautiful. We're doing it together. And it's exciting. It's very exciting. So anyway, working on writing a book. We'll see if that's something he wants to do, but I feel called to do my passion, which is writing and write a book. So, all right, I love you guys. I'll let you go. Love you all. Mwah. Talk soon. Bye-bye.